the dementia is wrong with you? Today we have dementia advocate Colette Afriyie. She's the founder of Afro Cognitive Health Collective, an organization dedicated to supporting the Black community through culturally responsive dementia education and resources for care partners. She has a background in radio broadcasting and is a trained personal support worker with additional training in the positive approach of care of TITPA. Colette's passion for dementia's advocacy is deeply personal, as her mother was diagnosed with an early onset of Alzheimer's disease. This experience has shaped her commitment to improving access to support, education, and culturally relevant care within underserved communities. Welcome, Colette. I'm so honored to just have you as a guest today.
Lady Sharon, thank you so much for having me as well. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, so tonight, as I said, guests, we're going to be talking about dementia. I met Colette at a film screening. She was a panelist, and the film screening was Sugar Dumpling, right?
Yes, it
Sugar
was.
Dumpling, and it was about dementia. Amazing shout out to Tristan Barox and his crew, and just you had such a powerful story, and I just want you to just be able to share with our listeners, just tell our listeners a little bit more about you and what led you to becoming a dementia advocate.
Thank you so much. And I want to say hello, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are
Yes.
listening to us. Thank you for joining us tonight. So as Lady Sharon so beautifully said, my name is Colette Afriyie. My story starts in 2017 when my mother started showing early signs of dementia. My grandmother was also diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so I had an idea when it was really showing that something was off with my mom. My mom was just exiting something very traumatic. And so at first, I thought it was depression. I thought it was anxiety. I thought it was sadness. But it turned out it was much more than that because she wasn't just sad. She was forgetting things on a daily basis. And
Mm,
some of the things that I saw were one of the things is she got lost. She went to go visit her mom in long term care. And when she was on her way home, she called me in a panic, in a frenzy, and was like, I'm lost, Colette. And she was just at like Steele's in Albion. And she's been in this country for over 40 years, so she knows her way around. But
mm,
at that time, she was lost, so scared that she called me. And I wasn't able to get to her, so I had to direct her home. And thankfully, she got home safely.
mm,
Another was that it's cooking. Cooking is so cultural. It's how we connect
mm,
with one another, right? And my mom loves to cook. But
mm,
that was one of the other signs that something was wrong. But the biggest sign for me was when she was laid off from her previous job
mm,
and she was applying for a new job and she got the application form and she didn't know how to fill it out. I remember standing just above her and she was looking at the application form and she said, "What is happening to me?" And when she said that, I was like, I need to bring her to the doctor immediately because names are powerful, right? And
yes.
my mom was like, she's because my grandfather and my grandmother only had girls. So for
Mm,
her, her last name, she kept it. She didn't
mm,
change her last name when she got married. So there's a lot of pride in that. So for her not to remember how to spell her
pronoun-
name or put her name down was a big deal. So I
mm,
brought her in to see the doctor. And this is going to tie into my advocacy. I brought her in to see the doctor. It was a walk-in because she didn't have a family doctor. And the family doctor said, "Oh, nothing's wrong with your mom. She has dementia. Just give her, sorry, she has a depression. Let's just give her some depression medication." Dismissed her. You're probably in that doctor's office for less than 5 minutes. And she was already prescribed
mm,
depression medication. No
mm,
testing, no conversation. Just like, I think she just needs to get over what she went through.
mm,
Anyway, as a daughter, I was hopeful, and I'm not wishing dementia on sorry, depression on my mother, but I was hopeful that it was just that, and then she would get better, and and she doesn't have Alzheimer's, but she took it for a few months, and guess what? Nothing changed. She
Mm,
slept more, but the
mhm,
signs did not change. So I brought her to my family doctor, and my
mhm.
family doctor did do the testing, asked her a few questions, and realized that my mom was experiencing early young onset Alzheimer's disease. That was a very heavy blow for myself, but
Of
most
course.
importantly for my mom, because the next few words was, "So I have the same disease as my mom." And the room just filled with sadness. Like, what do we do? And I said, okay, Colette, you can't think about yourself. You got to think about your mom. So I said, okay, mommy, everything's going to be okay, even though I had no idea what was going to happen. And I didn't understand that my role had shifted from daughter to care partners, just like that. So
Mhm.
mom is diagnosed, and we fast forward to me having to care for her, and that was extremely challenging for me because I had a young child,
Yeah.
and being very unwell. It was during the pandemic, and the pandemic was very
Yeah,
challenging for many people at the
for
time,
everybody,
right?
especially if you
They
end up being sick. It's like,
right and
how do you deal with this? You know, it's who I don't
exactly.
have COVID. I don't have COVID. Yeah, so.
Right. So we're staying in our homes and so there's a lot of things happening. So it was
Mhm,
during that time as well. And I
mhm.
remember sitting on my mom's bedroom floor, and I thought to myself, if I don't put mommy in a long-term care home, I'm going to become very sick. I was already very sick, but I'm going to end up in
Mm,
a hospital. So
yeah.
I made the call. I had a lot of resources. Great. I'm grateful for that. Like the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, they helped me to place her in a long-term care home, and I got the relief that I needed. But I,
We're getting a little audio bump. Are you getting the same sound?
sorry.
I can't hear you too clear. Okay, continue. I couldn't hear you too clear. Go ahead.
Okay. And something, and also your mic as well, you're no longer clear. Can you speak again?
Hi. It's like jarring it. Can you hear me?
It's better now. A little crackly, but I
Okay,
can
it's
hear you
better now.
better.
Yeah, it's a little
Okay.
crackly. That's what I heard too. Okay, very
Yes.
good. We're good. We're back.
Okay.
We're back. I don't want you
Okay,
to share the
perfect.
story and we don't hear you.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. So I went back to school to be a personal support worker, which is so different from broadcasting. I never wanted to be in healthcare. People told me, "Hey, Colette, you're so compassionate. You'd be so great. You'd be a great nurse." I said, "Oh, no, 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 it's okay. I'm okay." But I ended up because of the same pandemic. So I went back to
Yeah.
school. I became a personal support worker, and then I landed on the dementia care floor. And I said, "Miss," it was a Jamaican lady. I said, "Miss,
You
I don't
sure
think
you landed on the dementia care floor? You serious? It just
I
happened that way.
landed there." And I said, "Me?
You
Why?
didn't even
Right?
that's
Why? Why? Why?" So I landed there, and a beautiful nurse, she said to me, "I know you don't want to be here, but you're a personal support worker, which means you should be able to work on any floor. So you're going to stay here." And, and because of her is the reason why I'm here today, the reason why I love dementia, the reason why I want to advocate and want to educate the Black community on dementia is because she said you belong here.
I'm hearing you a little crackly again. Shayna, are we still hearing her crackly? Do I sound crackly?
Yes, you
No, you sound fine on my end. You both
Okay,
sound fine.
everybody. Okay, Shayna, just say something if it's not. Sorry, I apologize. I
I
can't
will.
hear. I
I'll
can't really
I'll
hear her. That's
I'll
my bad.
come in if it happens.
Okay. I'll just touch my
thank
ear
you.
if I'm not hearing, but that's
Okay,
sorry about
thank
that.
you. No,
Listeners,
no
we're just having
worries.
little technical difficulties.
Yeah, no
Continue,
worries. We're gonna
Colette.
work with it. We're gonna work with
We're
it.
gonna work with it. We got
Yep.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I ended up loving dementia, wanted to learn more, went to school to be a social service worker, found out that I don't like it, but I still love dementia education. So I ran
Mm,
with that. I'm continuing my education now. And because I shared my story on social media, there were other Black individuals who this story resonated with, and they wanted to learn more. They want to learn what are the first signs, where do I go, who do I talk to, is this really dementia? And that's what sparked the Afro Cognitive Health Collective. So that's a very long story, but
No, it's a
it's
very
tied with my
beautiful.
mom, it's tied with evolution and growing, and it's tied now to my purpose and what I do.
Beautiful. And it's like it's funny because when I had like posted online last year, and I had posted online because I was attacked by somebody who showed the
Mhm.
signs of dementia. And I realized, like, actually, when we were at Sugar Dumpling, how many people's lives were affected
Yeah.
by dementia. It's one where the form was like pretty much almost the whole room, whether they
Yes.
knew somebody or, knew somebody, somebody knew somebody, but everybody knew somebody. And
Yes.
in this case, we really don't, we're still trying to get him diagnosed. One doctor said he has it, and one doctor has said no. And sometimes that could be a
Mm.
conflict, like,
Mhm.
that 5 minute doctor's appointment you had, like in, out, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And but one of the things I've seen different is how you approached dementia, the circumstance, because often we're getting signs of what's dementia. This is why I started the show with what the dementia is wrong with you. And sometimes
Mhm.
dementia could destroy a family. Sometimes
Mhm.
the person who has dementia has certain behavior, like what I experienced, and the families just abandon it. They're not even looking for care. And if they're looking
Mhm.
for care, they're just so, like, all those signs might have driven them apart, I feel.
Mhm.
So I want, like, let's go into, like, we're gonna touch more on the story because it's gonna come back up again. But I want you to just share, like, in your own words, a definition or an explanation of what dementia is, because every day I think I'm learning something new of what I didn't think it was. Like, oh my gosh, this is a sign.
Yeah, and so dementia, I love that you said that because dementia, the dementia world, is a part of science. So it's like always growing. There's always something new being discovered about dementia. So
Mhm.
dementia is an umbrella term to describe a set of symptoms that help to give words to or identify the diagnosis. So for example, we have the flu, right? But then there's different types of flu. And for some people, they get the flu shot that has a cocktail of different flus. And those flus are just so those different flus are not, they don't present the same way. So that's why there's different types of flus. So
Okay.
that's the same thing with dementia. So dementia is like the word flu, but
Mhm.
under that umbrella of dementia, which is like a cognitive decline of the brain, meaning that the brain is changing and it's declining over time, and it's maybe shrinking in form. Um, there are different types of dementia. So we have, like what I said, early young onset. So with my mom, that would mean that the dementia starts before the age of 65. Then they have Alzheimer's disease that starts at the age of 65 and above. Then they have Lewy body that affects your muscles and also affects your
Mm.
brain. You have the Parkinson's disease that's also tied to dementia. You
Mhm.
have mixed, so those are different types of dementia, frontal
Mhm.
temporal dementia. So there's different types, and based on the symptoms will determine the type of dementia you have. And that is why it's important for us to see a doctor, and the doctor will be able to do the necessary assessment. My mom, and
I can't hear her at this moment.
Yeah, we lost Colette.
Okay.
Um, see if we can get
This
her
is the
back.
world of the live reality, not pre-recorded. And as we wait for Colette, I could just share a little bit about it. So last year, about a year ago now, I was somebody who known me since I was a baby, came after me with a knife. Just, it was out of nowhere. And but then when you look back, were there little signs? There are signs. Um, and this is what prompted me to do a search. And actually, I reached out everywhere looking for dementia, help with dementia, help with dementia. And a lot of people actually, there's not that much information. And interestingly enough, it has actually affected the Black community um, more than any other community ever. So this is some of the things that we're going to be going in. Yay, we got you back. Okay. Oof. Afia. I'm calling you Afia. I mean, Colette, you're back now. You can't hear?
She is muted. Um,
Is it allowing you to unmute your mic?
okay.
We do pardon the technical difficulties
I
here
can't
today,
hear
my
you.
fam. Say it's a very important topic because, man, great topic.
Let's try to get her audio back
We just
on.
started.
Showing that she's fine. I'll toggle off and on and see.
Can you hear me by any chance, Lady Sharon?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you now.
You can, but I can't hear you, and I don't know why.
We're going to work with it. Shayna, you could hear us, right? You could hear us overall.
I can hear
Um,
you both,
oh,
but
but
she
you
has
want
to
to be
be
able
able
to
to
hear.
hear
She still
you.
has to hear me. Oh gosh, conversation. um, yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm probably. Is it okay for me to leave and come back in? We can
Yes,
try
of
again.
course. Yes, of course.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Shayna, do you want us to do a complete
Sorry.
startup, or we're going to go with this? All right. So, anyways, so today, yeah. So we're here discussing dementia. And
Right.
okay, Colette, are you back? Oh,
Yes, we're good.
can you hear me? Oh, okay. Phew.
We're gonna get this word
Yeah.
out, Lady Sharon,
We're gonna
by
get this up.
force.
This advocacy is very important. It's very important because I'm just honestly the amount of people that are taking care of loved ones with
Yes.
dementia, the amount of people that don't even know their loved one has dementia, or we have an attitude of like, like, what's wrong with you? Like you must have dementia or something. Like is something wrong. Like we have this, even though it's not as overt as I'm expressing it.
Sure. Oh,
We
it
This is
can be
how
that
families
way.
are taking their family
Mhm.
members, and I'm not saying that they may not be easy, as we saw
Yeah.
in Sugar Dumpling, like the
Um,
he Oliver Samuels expressed it so well, like like the up and down emotions, but just it's beautiful. But anyways, we'll talk about Sugar Dumpling another time,
yeah.
with Tristan and his team, and then
Yes.
we'll bring you back for sure.
Mm.
So we were saying like, so you were breaking down like what dementia is, that there's different varieties of dementia, different
Yes.
kinds, So even like with my situation, I shared with you the story, and I just shared with the listeners as well in the interment. You had said, you had indicated that like like when the behavior is like totally not the same. So like for some reason he remembers. I thought dementia was all about just forgetting.
Hmm.
It's what was that other term that you had referred to, like what the that he came that wouldn't have something that he wouldn't have handled a situation. There was a trigger why he came after me with
Yes.
the knife.
Yes. There could be a trigger. So first, I want to say, because I'm not a doctor,
Yes,
so
clarify.
yes, I need to clarify, because
Advocate.
he may be showing signs of dementia, but the doctor is the one that actually confirms whether he has dementia or
Yeah.
not. So let's say he does have dementia. There is something going on. We just don't
Hmm.
know what it is.
Hmm.
So there are certain things that can come up for someone living with dementia. So let's picture a beautiful pink, nice um brain that's fatty and it's good, like it's healthy. And then I want you to picture, on the cigarette boxes, they have like a healthy lung and then a lung that over years and years and years of smoking cigarettes. So
Yes.
it's think about the brain looks just like those lungs. Just to give you some context, right?
Correct.
Yes, a lot of plaque. Yes. So the brain is shrinking, meaning that it's not operating at its optimum level, which means that it affects how we think, it affects our perception, it affects how we reason, how we understand, communicate. All of these things are impaired because the brain is physically changing, because there's plaques in the way and tau tangles. These are biological things, not biological, sorry. These are things that are helping the brain to change, not really helping, but
Yeah.
causing the brain to change. So I want to preface that with that. So meaning that the person cannot control everything that they're doing. So there could be impulsive behavior. He may be aware that he did something that he should not have done, but that impulsive behavior, then not being able to control himself. Because imagine when someone's got you so mad in your head, you're thinking a whole bunch of things. Do you do it? You won't actually do it, but in your head, you've done it like a million times, right?
I
So
don't know.
maybe that inability to stop himself from being impulsive is gone, right?
Mhm.
So that's the first thing. The second thing, there's a term in the dementia world that's called responsive behaviors.
Mm,
Responsive behaviors means that there is a need for him that's not being met, and he doesn't know how to articulate that. He doesn't know how to identify and say, I don't know, I'm not happy. I had toast today. I don't want toast. I want ackee and saltfish and dumpling. I
you
don't
done
want
know.
toast. But maybe he didn't say it, but he's upset about it, right? Or there are even or there's even terms like what I told you in terms of, or even situations, I'm sorry, that which I've told you that you may look like someone from his past that really got him
And I
upset.
did. I do.
And you are not the person that he's upset with, but it
Hmm.
could be your hair, it could be anything on you, anything at all that he perceives as you're that person. You got me mad in 1975, and
Hmm.
now so he thinks you're somebody else. His perception, he has no control over that, and there's probably a need not being met.
That's sort of
So
how I felt, but it didn't. But it definitely was a trigger. But it
mhm.
knew it was me too. But I know it was definitely a trigger. And
But
then
I'm not
looking into the fact that he had two strokes
mhm,
and seizures,
vascular.
and I
So
don't know how the family missed that, mind
mhm,
you. But again, and I'm not saying that they're, I mean, their family is family, but I mean, it's like, it's what the dementia is wrong with you. Like, it's what's wrong
mhm,
with you.
mhm.
And he's lost his family. He's lost his family,
Yeah,
right?
so behaviors can drive family away if there's not education and there's no support for that person.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it being incredibly hard to get help for that person if in some ways they're showing that they're cognizant, right? If they're
Hmm.
still showing that for a long period of time, I can imagine it being hard to be like, let's get you to the doctor or let's get you long-term care, because you cannot force anyone into these spaces. So I can imagine that being very difficult for the family, But I want to also say, Lady Sharon, that although he may or may not have dementia, there might be a cognitive decline because, as you mentioned, he had a stroke and he had seizures. So there are hundreds of types of dementias out there.
Hmm.
Some are reversible, some are not, and they cause long-term damage. And so,
I'm glad that you mentioned about the reversible because just today I learned that I
mm,
I have this thing where I always think something could be healed,
mm,
and it can be healed, it could be reversed, but apparently once it starts, you can't really reverse. And then you're saying shrinking too.
right,
That's
right.
I didn't really see it. I'm seeing the plaques, but the shrinking
Mhm,
of the brain and like literally you can't. This is why we have to take care of our brain health. We're gonna get into a little
mhm,
bit into that, about like
mhm,
diets and stuff like that. But literally, we need fatty. I didn't even know fat was good for you. Oh,
yeah,
good fats, omega. But
salmon.
my
Yeah.
grandmother's 101 years old, so fat clearly she fries food. Okay,
Mhm, mhm.
we eat.
Well, we
That's
need
all.
healthy fats though. Like
No,
omegas have healthy
I
fats,
know.
which is really, really good for
Yes.
the brain and for the
Yeah.
cognitive function. And I'm telling you from personal experience
Hmm.
that because my mother was diagnosed with it, my grandmother had it, there's a potential that my great grandmother. So for me, I'm taking the necessary steps to protect my cognitive health. And I've been implementing omegas, and let me tell you, they work and
Mm.
they help. So I would strongly suggest that you take your omegas or you take the necessary uh, the necessary fish that you need for the week. But I want to just touch on this really
Yes.
quickly for the care partners that are experiencing um hurt at home and experiencing some kind of, I'm going to say abuse loosely because I don't think it's intentional, that
Mhm.
it is not okay. Not because the person has dementia means we excuse what's happening to you. Because a lot of the times the care partners are not getting the support that they need. They're sometimes forgotten, and they're internalizing a lot of traumas and thinking, well, they're sick, so it's okay, but it's not okay. And I want to let you know, Lady Sharon, what happened to you was not okay, in
Yeah,
spite
you
of
did tell me that. I didn't like, I was holding it. I'm still, still holding it a bit because I don't know what to do per se because it's not my family.
Mhm.
There's only so much I could do unless I turn an advocate like you. That's some serious
See,
crowd work.
the thing is, again, I don't know the family, but there could be layers of things. There could have been trauma pre-dementia or pre-cognitive decline that we know nothing about.
That's right.
Families are like, listen, like now you're sick. When I needed you, you weren't there. I don't know the family. I'm just assuming this is just pulling things out the sky, right? But
Mhm.
there could be many things why people back off from care. And they may not even be trauma, but they're not in the space or the place to care partner,
Yeah.
because look at the economy that we're living in,
Yeah.
right? Some people are working 2 to 3 jobs. What does that look like for them? Their
Mhm.
children have to go to school, pick up, drop off, and all the things. So some people may not be ready or prepared to care partner. And that is also okay, because care partnering does take and require a lot.
It
So I
does.
don't need a family, but the best thing that we can do if you're not ready or in the position to care partner is what are the next steps so that mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa gets the best care possible. We still have to center them in the care, even if you do not want to participate actively in their care, you know?
Okay.
Hmm?
There was a comment that I just saw over there. Someone had mentioned in the chat. Robin Williams had Lewy body dementia.
Yes.
Is there a high risk of suicide? I could imagine like the
Hmm.
'cause you kind of thought it was even depression, like it
Yes.
mimicked that and yeah.
It can be masked as depression, and usually the way that they detect the cognitive decline of a person is through
Mhm.
MRI. Brain scans really help with understanding what's happening into the brain, and where the cognitive decline begins in the brain determines the type of the dementia the person has. And that's why you need to see a doctor. But
You
I
do.
mean, as the person had noted, like Robin Williams had Lewy body, and for maybe a long time, just thought he was depressed. He was taking all this medication to manage it, but he had a cognitive issue.
Wow. And I mean,
Mhm.
like, so Canada, we talked about earlier, like, that we saw so many people that are affected, but Canada in particular, has a disproportionate amount of people that are Black that have the dementia. Do you have any stats on that? Like any numbers on like what's happening here or what's even happening in Ontario? Because it's here, it's happening. It's happening everywhere, to be honest, regardless
Mhm.
of race. But we are the
Mhm.
highest number, like
Yeah.
of people. If you want to just share a little bit about that, touch on.
Absolutely. So on the Alzheimer's Society of Canada website, it says Black individuals are 2 times as likely to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So Black individuals are at a higher rate out of all the other dementias that I've listed and spoken about.
Mhm.
Alzheimer's is the top one that we are at a higher rate of being diagnosed with. And the reason for that is stressors, everyday stressors, environmental stressors, work stress, racialized stress. It's also the foods that we eat, our sleeping patterns. Are we exercising? Are we moving our bodies? So, all of these things are modifiable risks, meaning that if we were to implement how to manage our stressors better, maybe implementing therapy to deal with trauma, going to the gym or working out, going out for our walks, eating healthier and at the right time, getting adequate amount of sleep can really minimize our risks of developing Alzheimer's
Yes,
disease,
yes,
right? And so those are the reasons why Black individuals are 2 times as likely. And then not to list, my mother has a rare form of it, which is the early young onset Alzheimer's disease. That can
mhm,
be hereditary. There's a 50-50 chance. And then if you do have it, then it's a 50-50 chance of it expressing itself. But if you implement modifiable risks, then you lessen the chances of developing Alzheimer's disease, or you push it further into older age before it starts to show its first signs. So those are the statistics for Black individuals. And we need to really take a really good look at it, because while we are 2 times as likely to develop Alzheimer's, we're the last in all the racial groups to be diagnosed with it, which means a lot of our community members are not getting the proper care that they need at the early stages. They're not getting medications that could potentially
so,
slow down the disease. They're not a part of the decision making when it comes to their health care plans. They're not able to put certain things in place before it gets really bad. So that puts us at a high risk of even financial, like having financial issues, right?
mhm,
So not being able to access funds if they need to be placed in long-term care, not
mhm,
really knowing what to do, having them being placed in crisis placement at long-term care, which means they can be placed anywhere in the GTA or or in Ontario. So getting the diagnosis early for us is better because we have better health outcomes.
yeah,
So,
definitely. And the proactiveness. I was being silly earlier when I said my grandmother does a lot of fried food, but we
yes,
honestly see it. She fry food.
yes,
She spent about 40 years in Canada, and I could tell you that she's 101, and this is when I started to realize fat is important.
it
Just like
is.
how sometimes people be like, "Oh, salt is really bad," but too
Mhm.
much. But we
Yeah,
need fat in the brain. I see some of these athletes and everyone working out and they want to be 0% fat, but that brain
needs
needs
it.
fat. We need the proactive, and of course the omega fats, as you said, the
Yes,
healthy omega fats.
yes.
You look so bright and alert,
Mhm.
and
Thank you.
your energy is so healthy. So I'm gonna be taking my omegas.
Mm.
you know,
Take your omegas, girl. Take them
yes,
because they really,
food or
really do help.
supplements.
And
Yes.
the wrong kind of fats, also, which I should actually add
Mm,
this to modifiable risks, is
mm,
food, right? Which I did say that. But if we're eating high in sugar, high in fat foods, Black individuals are at a higher risk for cardiovascular disease,
mhm.
right? And so, and diabetes, those are the two
That's
ones that we
yeah,
know in our community exist for sure. And
super.
that puts you at an even higher risk of developing dementia. So
Yeah,
the right fats do matter, and the amount of sugar that you take in do matter. And if you do already have high blood pressure and diabetes, then you need to manage it the best way possible. Follow your doctor's directives, or your health practitioner, or your naturopath, whomever you get your healthcare advice from. You should
yes.
follow it.
And it's funny, I'm glad that you mentioned about like, diabetes and kidneys and stuff like that because my dad, he had CHF and diabetes, congestive heart failure and diabetes, right?
Mhm.
And ultimately in his, I would say his last month of life, dementia,
Mhm.
doing all kinds of things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Tipping in Jamaican dollars. You know what I mean? And all
Wow.
kinds of things. And
Yeah.
then that's what actually ultimately and brought him to the hospital. But
Mhm.
then again, it was too short. It was such a short-lived moment for us to ex- experience, like understand that he was going. That was dementia. That was like the so diabetes in itself. And sometimes we take it for granted, or it's
Mhm.
oh, it's genetic. I like what I feel it's lifestyle. Believe you me,
Mhm.
that we're passing on to each other. Some obviously genetics, we have, blood from blood types, all that stuff. DNA plays a role, but lifestyle plays a big role. So when people take diabetes lightly, no, get rid of that diabetes. That you could reverse,
Mhm.
reverse that diabetes because I'm telling you, it affects the brain
It
eventually.
does.
Right?
Mhm.
That's very powerful. Um, one of the challenges, though, as you mentioned too, was like getting adults adults screened. That's
Mhm.
not easy because they're their own person. But then on top of it, with Black adults,
Mhm.
oh, yay. Okay. We might be sent out for, you might be sent out like your mom, like she told dementia, that she had depression. Um, and what was the other guy? The other guy, Robin Williams, right? Totally misdiagnosed, and then they found out that it's Lewy body dementia, right?
Mhm.
So how do we, like, it's your company, your organization? Can you tell me the name of it again? Your organization.
Afro
Yeah.
Cognitive Health Collective.
Yeah. So you are special case. You're gonna turn PSW. Respect.
Yes,
No, respect.
thank
That's a
you.
rare thing that you went out, you cared for your mom. You love
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
Like I'm telling you, a lot of people could have reacted. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? No. But you went on, came a PSW. Now you have this organization, Afro Cognitive Health Collective. Does this organization help navigate um like other people who are living with dementia, like families? Do you support families? How does it work? Like I because we
Yeah,
need you, because I couldn't
sure.
find nobody last year, and I said, to help the situation. I couldn't find not one person. I was in America. I was searching everywhere, and to be honest, it was more people like yourself. As much as I want to get Nguzu to come on with you,
Ngozi.
in Ngozi.
Ngozi. Yes.
Ngozi, thank you.
Yeah.
That one I didn't know. Ngozi, right? I would love for her to come on and share some more, because literally to be able to navigate that, to get a diagnosis. So now the same man, he has one diagnosed from a doctor, and the next doctor saying no. And I'm sure it's the main doctor that he needs to say yes, or they
Mhm.
need to say yes, but then he's a grown adult. So how do we? What are ways that we can navigate the medical system to be able to work for us, especially as people of color?
Oh my goodness, that is a loaded question. And that is why individuals like Ngozi or Ngozi, myself, are trying to champion and say that the system was not created with Black people in mind.
Hmm.
Like when they created this system, they didn't say, hey, how would Black people feel about this system? Like, no, it wasn't, right? But we recognize um, that there are hurdles for Black individuals to access care, and we need to start removing them as soon as possible because Black individuals are aging out in Canada. So, how do we navigate this space? The first thing I want to say is education, but where do you get it from? And that's where we step in as Afro Cognitive Health Collective. We have Black Care Partner Circles once a month, every third Monday of the month, and we have professionals come in and talk about how to navigate the system, how to get yourself ready, what does dementia look like. We have something coming up the end of this month with Alzheimer's Society of Canada talking about keeping our loved ones safe in the home so they don't wander and leave the home. So education is very key. Secondly, a lot of people love to or say that we're aggressive. They can say we're aggressive, but you need to advocate. Use your voice. If they think you're aggressive, they think you're aggressive. There's
Hmm.
nothing we can do about that. What you're asking for is, I think something is wrong with mom. I want to do an investigation on that so I know what to do to really help my mother and stand 10 toes down on it. I
Yes.
saw a Black brother 2 weeks ago talk about the fact that his daughter was hurt at school and he had to cool down because he's a Black man, he's a tall man, he's a big man, and he didn't want to come off as threatening. And
Mm.
that is so disheartening to hear from a Black father who would move heaven and hell and everything just to protect his daughter, has to shrink himself and compose himself just to say, hey, what you did to my daughter is wrong. I want you to not worry about those isms and schisms. We need to advocate and raise our voices for our loved one living with dementia, because if we don't, they're the ones that are going to suffer. And that's what usually happens,
Mm.
right? In the
Mm.
meantime, uh, please come to the Black Care Partners community because you can ask questions and we can give you resources. We can give you language on what to say when you walk
Yes.
into these symptoms, systems. And I will say, we also partner with external NGOs, and you may hear me say it many times. The Alzheimer's Society of Canada. We also
Yes.
have therapists that can help you. So sometimes navigating the system, not sometimes, navigating the system is hard, and having a therapist there to support you as you navigate the system, as you deal with grief and loss with your parents or your loved one, having that kind of support really does help. So
Mm.
if you have any questions, if you need support, we check our DMs. We check our DMs all the time. You
Yeah,
can
you're very good with that. It's good. That's what I noticed. It's like, it's funny. That person who had put that question, it was almost like a double. They made a comment and a question.
Mhm.
Just going back is like, is there a high risk for suicide?
I
I
think
wonder because
I
of
think
dementia.
it's more or less with Lewy body, but okay, that's a very heavy question because we don't talk about the suicide rate with older adults, but older
Mm,
adults are can deal with depression
that's
and will consider sorry, I was frozen there. Will consider to help themselves leave, right? So these are the topics that we do need to talk about. It is stigmatized in the Black community, but when you sit down and you talk to an older adult, you think about what they're saying. Their wife has passed, their brothers have passed, their parents have passed, their close friends have passed, they're losing their mobility, they don't have their independence. I mean, it gets. How do you feel when you're sick with the flu or you can't move around the way you
mm,
want to? After a few days, you're like, oh my goodness, this is depressing, right? So, away from dementia, suicide rates do increase as our older adults age. So they
oh,
do
look
need
at that.
support,
Wow.
regardless of dementia or not.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. You wouldn't even think of it just in that simplicity, just age in
Right.
itself.
Right. We
Despair.
don't think we don't we because we think being miserable comes with being older, but if we really listen to what they're saying, some of them are really unhappy. They don't want to age here, but they have no choice. They have no family in Grenada, in Jamaica, in Barbados, Bermuda, Bahamas, Antigua. They have
Mhm.
no more family probably to go to, or maybe it's not a safe place for them to return to call home, so they end up staying here and they're not happy, or
Yes, very true.
they might have some regrets, so many
Yeah.
different things.
Oh yeah, and I think in the at the Sugar Dumpling you guys talked about untreated mental health. Like
Yeah.
they went through mental health is what we're pretty much describing. Um, there's another question here, or a comment, I guess. It's
Sure.
somebody's put, we need to work as a village for the benefit of our spiritual psychology and physical well-being. Oh, that's from
Yeah.
Joy. Yes, Joy, how are you? Thank you
Yes,
for that comment. We
I
have to work together, but again, resources like you, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of families that are not dealing with this properly.
mm,
You know what I mean? There's
and
some,
we
and as you said, sometimes even finance plays a role, and sometimes it's not even money. Because in that family's case, it's not
right,
money. It's just
right.
it's enough was enough because of
Hmm.
the conduct,
Yeah,
right? And again, we're still waiting on that, like a firm diagnose, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but that's a good comment there. There's now like what does a like okay, you mentioned a little bit about MRI and stuff like that, and I threw this in your questions. What does the diagnosis process look like? So between the you get the medical history, the mental status. Like if you could just break it down, because well, I guess we would do that if we came to your organization, but you could share a little.
Yes, of course I can share. That's no problem. I will never gatekeep just because. No, never.
No, 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 no.
Wherever I find my people and they
Yes,
need help, the help is there. So,
yes, respect.
of
Yes.
course. Diagnosis and the way someone is diagnosed depends on the type of dementia that they have. So for my mother, it was Alzheimer's. So the family doctor asked a few questions. Then the next step was going to a geriatric neurologist who I didn't want to get into that story because when we
Oh,
talk about cultural identity and dealing with our people, I went back to my family doctor and I said, unless you want me to raise the roof, My mother's not going back there again. Okay.
That's
But
good.
yes, the next step is geriatric neurologist. That was for my mother's Alzheimer's, and that could be the same for all other types of Alzheimer's, but I don't have that I mean dementia, but I don't have that experience. But I
Okay.
do know that the testing is different from dementia to dementia. And the reason for that is because if they do one test with Alzheimer's and they say, okay, they're okay here, they don't have Alzheimer's. So then what else do they have? They keep testing until they find the appropriate one. So there was someone that was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and then they were retested and found out that they don't have Alzheimer's. They have frontal temporal, and that's why their behaviors was so high, was because of the type of dementia that they have. So the
But I'm
doctor would go ahead.
I know but I'm actually very confused though about the Alzheimer's. I actually was in the earlier questions I had, but I didn't mention it, but
Go
because we're
ahead.
touching on it, but like that whole 1901, like from the recorded history of Alzheimer's in 1901, like what's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? But I'm hearing it now, like in this
Okay.
conversation, but
Mhm.
they're I guess it's
So
levels, right?
yes, so dementia is an umbrella term. Dementia just means that there's a cognitive change in the brain.
Oh, bravo.
There's something happening. So the
Yes.
function of the brain is inhibited by something, but what is that something? So under the term dementia is Alzheimer's disease, which is caused by tau tangles and plaques in the brain. Then there's Lewy body that's tied to muscles and how we move. There's frontal temporal that affects the brain from here, from the temporal to the front, and it severely affects behavior. So that is how dementia is defined. So anything that is causing the brain to stop working at its optimum level, either
Mhm.
it's declining or it's just not operating well. So for some of us, well, let's touch back on the reversible types of dementia, because the ones that I mentioned are degenerative diseases. These diseases do not reverse once they start, but we do have dementias, and a lot of us are experiencing it right now, like brain fog, which can be reversed, right? With
It can be
sleep.
reversed, right? It can
Yes,
be.
it
Oh,
can
okay.
be.
Okay.
It
One of my
can be.
mentees told me, she told me, she goes, "Don't worry, auntie, it's happening to all of us."
Yes.
I wonder if screen time is playing a big impact on like too much screen time for adults. Like I'm begging my mom. I'm like, "Mom, like too much screen time, man." Like
You know what?
sends the most videos in the whole family. And I'm
You're
like,
a
and she's
thousand
okay,
percent correct.
but I'm
Mhm.
worried. I don't want her to get
You know
dementia.
what? And that, and like I told you at the
Oh,
beginning, dementia
mhm.
is this growing field of like new advancements all the time, right?
Yes.
So our brain is physically changing because we spend so much time on social media. So the next 50 years, the next 40 years, next 30, 20 years, when they go to do an assessment on the millennial brain, they're going to know that screen time has played an integral
They are
role
doing
in
the
us
assessments. It's
developing.
no good. It's not like the
Sorry?
kids are being impacted. Those assessments are happening, like they're testing a lot of the children. Oh my gosh.
So these things it will definitely show up, so it does play a role. But
Mhm.
the brain fog and the forgetting of words, depending on how often, and there's also the forgetting of the words is tied to other things as well, not just forgetting words, just so it can get clear. So people are like, but I forget words every day, so do I. But dementia is a little different, but I'm sorry, Alzheimer's is a little different. But the reversible types of dementia, they are tied usually to minerals, vitamins, sleep, stress, and so many other things. So, but I will also emphasize that if we do not manage these um these stressors, then
Yes.
they can develop into dementia. So if you do see the foggy brain, you're having a hard time recalling things, you need to manage the symptoms yesterday so you can minimize your risk. It is not okay. It's okay to forget things. We all do it. It's okay to word search or word find. We all do it. But if you know within yourself it's happening way too often and you're aware of it, then you need to really do some blood work and see what's going on. And the first thing I would say, again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you that from my personal lived experience, Going to bed and getting my 9 hours of sleep helped to reverse
Nine.
my. I did. I did. What I did was I tested it out. I wanted to see how much hours of sleep would help my brain recover and be at its best. And I found out that 7 hours I can work, I could do it. But when I get my 8.5, 9 hours, I am my best self. My
Wow.
behavior, I'm emotionally regulated,
That makes sense.
and the words just flow. I remember things. I'm more confident, so if you're
Rest
not getting
easy.
about 8 to 9 hours of sleep, or the amount of hours your body needs to really work at its highest level, you need to start there.
Okay. So I
I
have
wish
some
for
other comments coming in here. So somebody made a comment: decalcify the pineal gland, diet, exercise, and the way of life. So yeah, they're putting in like
Mhm,
it's definitely these are proactive ways because literally this, listeners, viewers that are hearing this today, this cannot be reversed. Like honestly, there's so many changes that I know I have to make. It's
mhm,
really, really serious. And then somebody's put good night, ladies.
right.
Do any of the specialists mentioned talked about the oils we consume? Many of them aren't aware, and I feel it is important we address it. Polyunsaturated, I think they meant polyunsaturated fatty acids, and I don't know what the other word is. A press mitochondria, I guess they probably say it.
Mhm,
It didn't spell. And damage to the brain cells. I'm glad that this person brought up damage to the brain cells because I know a little bit, I'm learning and I've, over the years, but I know that like it's like skin, it if you get a scar, if you get a cut, it will replace it with new skin, new tissue.
mhm,
The
mhm,
brain tissue though, it's gonna replace it with scar tissue. It's
mhm.
really serious. Like the brain is such a delicate, I mean, it runs the whole body,
But
but
it is robust, and if you take care of yourself and your brain, it
mhm,
can heal itself. I'm a firm believer in that, and the reason why I emphasize sleep so much is because when you're sleeping, you're getting rid of waste. And if
mhm,
you're not sleeping enough, you're not getting rid of the waste. It
mhm,
sits. And as the commentator made mention about the brain cells being damaged, yes, it's being damaged because if it's being starved by the plaques and the tau tangles, the neurons are not going to the brain place that it needs to go to nourish the brain. So it is at your best, the highest benefit that you implement these modifiable risks as soon
mhm.
as possible, especially if you're already having a foggy brain and you're dealing with stress. And a lot of us deal with stress, high
Yeah,
stress
I'm
at that.
I'm listening to this and I'm like, I'm glad I did this show. It's saving my life,
Yes, and
and
we need
you're
to, because not only Black women are not only are Black individuals 2 times as likely, but Black women are at a even higher risk because we end up being the care partners for the individuals that develop the dementia. So it is so important that we take care of our cognitive health while
yes,
we can, which means, and I'm speaking to every care partner and every person that could possibly be a care partner, it is time to have these hard conversations with our loved ones. What would you like for your healthcare? I don't know. And be honest with yourself. I don't know if I'm in a position to do 24-hour care partnering. Let's have the conversation.
yeah,
Because what does that look like for you afterwards? Okay, or I do want to support you, mom and dad, but how this is the hours that I can give. This is how I can support. We
yeah,
need to be doing these things from a very healthy place.
yeah,
Because for me, I became so sick, I lost crazy weight. And some people will be like, oh, so what's your problem? You lost weight. No, I wasn't happy with the weight loss. And it was so rapid. Every week I was losing weight. I was so sick. I had gastritis. I had a
mm,
kidney infection. It was
mm,
so bad. And I remember telling myself, okay, I'm gonna go drink water in 5 minutes. And I wouldn't go. Oh, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And then when the doctor said, hey girl, you got a UTI, what's going on? You're
right,
too young for that, right?
right.
And he gave me the prescription. You know what your good sis did? kept on trucking along because I got to take care of my mom. I got to take care of the kids. We have a business,
Mhm.
the kids, and this is pandemic time, so they got to be on the computer on time and
Mhm.
managing all the things that it developed into a kidney infection because I was ignoring myself because I was thinking this is what care partnering looks like. And yes, this
And
is how
becoming
it
a
looks like.
PSW.
This
Girl.
is how care partnering looks like for many people, but
Mm.
it is not a healthy way of supporting somebody with dementia. So it's important that we try our best to get the resources necessary so we don't put ourselves at higher risk and we can be our best selves for ourselves and the person that we're supporting.
Beautiful. I really love your passion. It's looking at this comment here, in a little bit in length, they're saying where where whereas the real saturated fats feed the brain cells and in many cases reverse the cognitive decline. I'm hearing like people, but I guess but the brain, I just know that it doesn't have that, it doesn't replace the tissues, and but they believe that all can be reversed.
Mhm.
It's you feel
Well,
that it's
to be honest, I can only go by
what you know.
what I know and what is peer reviewed and but if people have experienced a full reversal, I am not going to challenge that person on that
Oh,
because
praise the Most High. That's
that
the
is
case.
their
Yeah,
personal lived experience.
yeah, yeah.
And that is okay. And if they were able to do that and they can help others do that too, I think that's good because people want hope. So I understand it. And if it's totally reversible and it's just not here yet, well, I hope it comes tomorrow because there are
Yeah.
a lot of people who would benefit from this, you
Hmm.
know, being this disease being reversed.
Okay. And I mean, there's the oils. I'm just looking at something here. Another comment here. Our community uses a lot of vegetable oils and canola oils.
That's
But
right.
I won't lie, my grandmother challenged that all because
Yeah.
she's cognitive. Like she does crafts. But again, I just we were always worried about the amount of oil she used,
Yeah.
and but realizing it's fat. But
Mhm.
heal thyself. We are magical. Yes,
Mhm.
But I think the warning is really. I feel more than anything, what I'm getting from you is proactive. Be
Mhm.
proactive,
Mhm.
and how to navigate support.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I didn't even ask you my questions in any particular order. You covered everything. I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, she covered that. She covered that. There's just so much, there's so much more because we had that session with different panelists just to
Mhm.
hear, the different information. But you really brought to the table about the care. You proved to be an example of what it takes to be educated. Like, well, this is new to me what you're saying. But
Mhm.
you had to get educated to be able to figure out navigate your mother's situation, your life situation, and then protect your future situation because it looks like it was generational, and hopefully
Mhm.
it might have been lifestyle that is passed on and not it being genetic because we all got brains and we need to protect them. You know,
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
being I'm in the menopause age, and
Mhm.
just being in that age, hot flashes. So they're not good because of the brain. So I now
Mhm.
have to now, well, how do I reduce my hot flashes? Okay, I got to take more B complex. I got to take everything. I can't even have oat milk. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
It works as a sugar against me, right?
Okay.
I've went a whole year without hot flashes, but then the hot flashes, you could tell that your head is getting dizzy. Of course, the fogging, and so I'm really gonna get proactive more so with my sleep more than
Yeah.
anything. You've really inspired me to like know how sleep. When you said 9 hours, I said, but wait, because you don't want to know because me's a bleacher,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the bleacher. Just some more.
You will see the difference.
Yes, I will. Like I could see. I'm looking at you. I know you're much younger, but I'm
Mhm.
looking at you and I see a glowing young woman. That's what I see. You glow, and I'm not saying that I'm not glowing. I'm not saying I'm not glowing, but you know what I mean.
You
But
going,
it's like
girl.
I want to keep the glow. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I want to keep that
Yes.
glow going,
You're
and the
gonna feel
brain.
better and
You know,
confident. Trust me.
yeah, and like even I'm like even like with regards to like usage of smoking and things like that, alcohol. Like there's lifestyles that are become the common norm that
Mhm.
create plaques in our brain and can just be part contribute to possible dementia, plus stressors Black people that we have. You
Right.
know?
So they do say, hey, if your family has a reoccurring of Alzheimer's disease, then
Mhm.
alcohol's not your friend regardless,
It's not.
right? But if you see it, then you really got to cut out the alcohol, So, but a lot of people who have Alzheimer's is not genetics; it is lifestyle.
I don't think it's genetics.
and and
Mm.
unfortunately they still don't know. They're still trying to
Yes.
get to why. They know how it happens. They know there's tau tangles. They know that there's plaques. They know there's vascular strokes. All these things cause decline, but they're still like, but why? Like, what is the trigger that triggers all these things off? Like, when does that happen? So they're still trying to figure that piece out. So we could still implement all these modifiable risks and still develop dementia, Alzheimer's, but maybe not at 65, maybe not at 70, maybe at 80, or maybe not at all.
Not at
But
all.
the best thing you can do for yourself
Right.
is to support yourself and heal yourself and heal your body,
Yes.
and do it now, and give yourself that self-love now.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna just read some more comments. We were told that the brain cells cannot repair. I've helped my patients improve cognition. Oh, healthy bike girl. Beautiful. That she's a naturopath, doctor as well.
Beautiful.
Um,
Beautiful.
that's I was gonna say Dr. Chata, but that's how I know her name. But it's like
Mhm.
Chata. Thank you for that. And learning a new skill later in life can help to prevent forms of dementia. Yeah,
Yes. Yes,
a completely
absolutely.
a new language. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'll parler français un petit peu. I'm gonna learn some French. Beautiful discussion, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and some oils. Oh, I gotta connect with you, healthy girl, bike girl.
Mhm.
Um, Oils and mercury and radiation. Is that what is she referring? Is that's these are factors, I guess?
I'll be honest, I can't speak on that. She would have to
Okay.
further explain. Like
Yeah.
like I said, like people are finding ways, and there are ways to help yourself through the dementia process. And if it works and it does help you, there isn't anything wrong with that. And if you want to share with others because you've seen it work, there isn't anything wrong with that either. But I can't speak to it because I don't know much about it.
Yes, I think I'm gonna have to bring Chata on. You Chata Ngos say her name again. And
And
go
Gazi,
Ngazi. Gazi.
yeah.
Oh, it's Ngo. Okay,
I
Ngazi.
know a lot of people who have the name say Ngozi, but she says it Ngazi.
Ngazi. Okay, I could hear her right now.
Yeah,
So
but
she's
she's a trailblazer in Canada, in Ontario. She's been doing this for over 10 years. She's
yes,
incredible. And
yes.
I see her as a mentor, to be honest, in the space.
Okay. Okay, she
Mhm.
was saying those are the bad oils, oils and mercury and radiations. These are things that we're exposed to more than we think.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I
When I
understand
saw
now.
the mercury, I'm like, this
Yes.
must be something bad. So to some
Yes.
extent, right?
Because they're environmental, so they could be in our clothing. She can confirm. I
Right.
can't see the comments. It could be in so many things that we use. Our skin is an organ, so it does absorb things out. So
This is
yeah.
me with the hair color because
Yeah.
apparently I have too many heavy metals, and I
Mm-hmm.
I supposedly dye with a natural hair dye, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to let it go at some
Yeah.
point. At some point, because it's the heavy metals I don't need in my system,
Yeah.
at all. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
changes to make. Again, it's a lot of it is lifestyle change, and
Mm-hmm.
then those that have already have dementia, there's room for navigation. To with sisters like yourself, Colette, and Colette is a very special young lady. See her with her Jamaican banner. We are talking. That's why I was like all nervous. I didn't even sleep. I mean, I got sleep. I was all excited. I was like, we are talking to one of the finalists of Mrs. World, Mrs.
Mrs.
Universe,
Universe,
Mrs.
Jamaica.
Universe Jamaica. And
Yes.
I just wish you all the best with that so that they can
Thank you.
really you be able to pour more into the work and the advocacy that you're doing. I'm definitely I've referred some of the that family, the brother, because I'm in touch with one of the family members. Because they just all they want to do is get him diagnosed. They want to make sure that he's, and then he gets the care that he needs.
Yes, that's
That's
what he
that is
needs.
the heart. They're not like totally cold, but they've went through things where it's like I'm done
Hmm.
with because and this is the thing. There's some other tips coming down here.
Yes.
See that gear girl. Um, Create a favorite music list. Studies are showing that music from patients past has helped to bring them back.
So let us touch on that. Thank you for that comment.
Woo.
So, why am I so passionate about the Black community? It goes beyond the statistics. It's
Mhm.
because care has a lot to do with who we are. It is not just about the disease, it's decentering disease and saying Colette is a person, Colette should be who Colette is, and it should be how we approach the care. So, for example, if Colette likes her 9 hours of sleep, well, we're not waking up Colette at 12 o'clock because Colette's not going to participate, right? So it's implementing the things and keeping the dignity of the person. And I love this person saying, talking about music, because music is integral when we're talking about dementia care. It does help. It brings back great memories, great feelings for the person,
Mm.
and you'll be surprised how much they know the lyrics,
Yes. I
like
think these
word
are
for
the
word,
things.
right? So
Yes.
music is so integral, so important, so emotional, so the connectivity is so good. So yes, music is a go, 100%.
Yes.
And when you're dealing with someone with dementia and you're getting to know them, ask them, what's your favorite music? Do you love music? What language of the music, what language does when you listen to music, does it, sorry, the language, like, so the person is from Ghana, Chi, do you like Afrobeats, or do you like traditional Ghanaian music, or are you Nigerian, or are you French? All of these things
Yes.
put together, pieces make us who we are, and it helps us with our care, and it
Yes.
helps us to do better health wise, and we have better health
Frequencies.
outcomes. And the framework is called person centered care. And this is why I'm passionate, because you can't tell Uncle Tom he has dementia, but you don't know who Uncle Tom is. And then when he's having behavioral outcome, behavior responses, you don't know his music, you don't know the food he likes, you don't know who his true love is, you don't know where he grew up. So all these things really contribute to how a person shows up in dementia, and how we give the care, and how we preserve their dignity. So yeah, I went on a tangent with that, but the music
No,
was
no, no,
great.
no. This I'm sorry that I think there's a tangent happening in this corner over here too. I'm just like looking at
Yeah,
like
just
no tangent
love
at
it.
all.
Think music
It's
is
funny,
great.
but you do like I mean in terms of like culturally sensitive care,
Mhm.
is key as well in your mission that you are
Yes.
doing. And not there's a void, we know, but at the same time, just culturally sensitive. It doesn't that is really key. And someone had made a comment that why was there less dementia in slavery? Very deep comment. And this is we'll touch this another time because the thing because when it goes into that whole 1901 of when they were, the word Alzheimer's and everything was coming to play. We didn't really get into that because I don't even know much about it. So and I love the content that we've discussed today. But
Okay.
they then another lady, Joy, I think this is the same Joy. She put our ancestors healed with sound.
Oh
So
my
that's why I
goodness.
was saying the
I
frequencies,
love
like
music is it's
absolutely
the
music.
best thing. It is the best thing. Like, you can use music, and science proves that you can use a baby to calm somebody
Yes,
like who's living with dementia.
yes,
Healing, it makes them happy.
yeah. Babies are
And
magic. I'm sorry, they just do. They
like,
do.
so
Yeah,
when you go to these spaces for adult day programming for a person living with dementia, they
mm.
have different hubs and spaces for them to go and regulate. And one of those spaces is for has lifelike babies that feel like babies, and
Oh,
sometimes,
me no want no fit baby. Sorry,
right,
but it works.
well, for them they don't really know the difference, right? for someone with dementia, they may not be able to tell that this baby is not a real baby, when especially if they're lifelike, right? So
Oh,
you say, oh my goodness, like Uncle Tom, who's this? Like, oh my gosh, the baby. This is angry. This person was angry just 5 seconds ago.
and
You
an
bring the
artificial
baby
baby did that. What?
because that part of the brain doesn't get affected. It doesn't. When it comes to like us being able to give care, love,
Mhm,
compassion,
mhm.
and nurture, that part of the brain is not affected by Alzheimer's. So we're able to use a baby to help regulate behavior, and it works.
Wow, I had no. That makes sense, but the artificial baby is like wow, it's like that's amazing. But that part, the
Because
nurturing part of the brain. Oh
yeah,
wow,
yep.
lovely.
Like
Um,
I had a baby
mhm.
a year ago. I brought him to meet his grandma. My mom is in long-term care, and she held on to him. Like she held on to him. She moved her hands around to keep his legs together when she was holding him. So these are things that wasn't lost over time. So music
Wow,
and babies are awesome, awesome ways to
yeah,
heal the person.
beautiful, beautiful healing.
Mhm.
Somebody there's another comment here. My great grandmother came back to us when I visited her in the hospital with my daughter. Her great grandchild, a newborn. All of a sudden her cognitive abilities returned. It was so amazing. And that person, I don't know if that's Shano or Shayna. I don't know if it's our Shayna, but that's beautiful.
I
That's
love those stories because those stories
beautiful.
you can't use science to explain it. We don't know why, but they're
Yeah,
like pockets of miracles, right? It's just
yeah, they
beautiful.
are. I to be honest,
Mhm.
it's with me with social media, pastime is looking at babies. I will never post any of my children or grandchildren
Yeah.
online. But
Yes.
I will look at everybody's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
aw." You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If it just like, it just stops, it's like smelling beautiful flowers, right?
Mhm.
And I know we could touch more on it, but I mean, we've gone over time. We started a little bit rocky with the whole technical difficulties, but, colors as well, but there would be more
Mhm.
triggers, but they can heal, I guess, as well.
Like colors.
The colors, right? They can provide some
Oh yeah, like in
yeah.
in those facilities for adult day program, they use colors. They use more subtle colors because it's easier for the brain. But yeah, there's
Mhm.
many ways. And I guess the word healing is it's broad. When we
Yes.
say healing, it could mean like for the soul, and it may not be, or it could be for the physical brain, right?
Mhm.
So, but all those things are used to help with behavioral responses in a person.
Okay. Well, girl, I know we did go over this time. This way,
Okay.
but I'm so happy to have this conversation. It's just so important. I've learned so much. Um, just again, as I said earlier, this is Mrs. Universe
With
Jamaica
Jamaica
finalist.
finalist. Yes.
And the work that you're doing deserves to be acknowledged and recognized. So
Thank
big
you.
up yourself.
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best. Now, if you could just tell our listeners just a little bit more about what things are coming up. I know next month is the Alzheimer's month, is it? I think June.
No, it's
Mission.
not
When is it?
June. It's October.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay,
Mhm.
October. Good thing I wasn't there. See, I got that wrong. Google
Okay.
can tell you anything. Eh?
There's so many different days. There's Alzheimer's week, and there's Alzheimer's Day, and there's Care Partner Day, and there's Care Partner Month, and it's hard to keep up. So
True.
don't
It's,
worry about
it's
it. It's
every day
okay.
is a holiday now.
And then also, depending on where you are in the world, so it could be Alzheimer's month, but maybe not here in Canada.
Yeah,
It could be in the
true.
States. It could be somewhere. So it's okay.
Okay, so
Don't
but
worry.
anyways, what's coming up? Well, October and October. What's coming up with you? Because I know there's a lot of things going on. So if you could just let some shout outs or to
Okay.
anything.
So right now, what's going on with me? I am running for Mrs. Universe Jamaica. So that's
Woohoo!
the first thing, and my hope is to really stage the importance of person-centered care, keeping people at the center of their care,
Mhm.
especially as they navigate dementia. So that's going on. We're building Afro Cognitive Health Collective. We're still at the grassroots level.
Yes.
We require lots of funding because what we want to do is we want to make sure education, there is no roadblocks. Our hope is that all of our materials are translated in all the languages that
Yes.
we speak in the Black community, and is not translated from English straight to Tree or Yoruba, I mean, culturally understanding the language
Yeah.
and the education, not just straight translation, because that doesn't mean understanding. So
No.
we are looking to work with people in the community to get the conversation out. We're hoping to partner with churches or places that are in our Black individuals frequent to have these types of conversations. So thank you so much, Lady
Yes.
Sharon, for just giving me the platform to speak today about dementia. And that's basically it. Those are the two major things that I'm working on. So please, if you can partner with me,
Yes.
visit us on Afro Cognitive Health on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. We do have some stuff coming up. We recently had salsa dancing for care partners. We had line dancing for care partners, and we're currently working on something else that's coming on the pipeline. So we would love to meet you. We would love to share our stories or hear your stories as well. And we would love to hear what you need from us as well. So it's a little bit
Okay.
about me. Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Colette Afriyie. Afriyie.
You're
Afriyie.
free. You're
I'm like Afriyie. No,
free.
Afriyie. Yes, thank you so much for the work that you've been putting in. I know I've said it over and over, but it's really, really appreciated. And we definitely will be talking again. I don't know if I'm looking at you or not. This is a whole new screen for me.
That's okay.
You
No
should have to
problem.
I think I'm supposed to look straight down on here, but yeah, we definitely appreciate the work that you've been doing, and we were going to have another conversation because we
Mm.
definitely it's such a broad
It is.
um topic, and then somebody said yes, big up Miss Jamaica, and someone said Mental Health Awareness Month. I guess that's next. No, that's
Yes.
October. I
That's
don't
this month.
know.
This month is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Okay, hey, so
Yeah.
this is very much connected. You really
Yeah,
actually,
it
to be
is.
honest, having this conversation is, believe it, simplified
Mm,
the importance of this thing called dementia. I don't want
mm,
to big up dementia, but it's really something that we all proactively have to guard our minds, our brains, our even the mental health, as put boundaries, because there's triggers that are not really healthy for you. I even think even with a dementia, if there's colors, some colors might trigger you. You said you work with softer colors, so maybe
mm,
you have to change your decor for that
mm,
loved one that you're caring. There's so much my head is just like, wow, just churning. There's so much to do, and you need to continue the work. So continue the good work
mm.
that you're doing.
And I'll say this last thing, if you allow me to, is
Yes.
that as Black individuals, we do work together. We are a collective.
Amen.
In our communities that we come from wherever we're coming from, a lot of us are children of immigrants or have immigrated to this country. So we know what it is to be in a village. And that's what we're trying to mimic, is that it's a village and it takes all of us to care for each other. Dementia does not just affect the person that's living with it, it affects the people around them too, and that means it affects the communities that they live in. So
Yes.
it's important that we all care about each other and we all learn about dementia, the signs, what it looks like. So we're not just supporting the person in our homes, but we're supporting everyone around us too. And we are just,
Mm.
caring for ourselves the way that we would in our own communities that we come from. That is it's natural for us. So having this information helps our community in a deep way.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you guys, you heard it. It's Wellness Wednesday. Thank you again for joining us, all the
Mm.
questions and your participation. Thank you. Thank you. It's Lady S signing out with Colette Afriyie.
Thank you. Take
One
care.
love.